Hello everybody and welcome to Lesson 7, Primary and Secondary Data. In this unit, or this lesson I should say, you will be able to distinguish between primary and secondary data, formulate good survey questions, and formulate questions requiring secondary data. Let's get started. In this lesson we're going to ask questions, collect answers, and display our answers in graphs. To answer our questions, we can use a survey, make observations, or take measurements. Here are some sample questions we might ask. So first of all, a survey is when we collect data by asking. So an example might be, what is your favorite book? So we can poll the class, conduct a survey to find out what their favorite books are. We could do an observation by watching. So we can have a question like, how many cars drove by my house today? So we can simply look out the window and count and watch. And lastly, we can collect data by measuring. So later on in science, when we have our weather and climate unit, we could build a rain gauge and then measure how much rain fell today. So here's an exercise. You have 3 options as answers for each question. You can, would you use a survey, an observation, or a measurement to answer the question? So pause the video, come back when you are ready to answer them. So who is the tallest student in the class? So this is something we would measure. We could measure all the students and find out who is the tallest. How many people in our class are wearing a blue shirt today? Well, that's simple. You could just look around the class. So we would make an observation. Who is the most popular superhero? So for something like this, we could conduct a survey. We can ask the class who they like as far as superheroes go. Next, we're going to talk about first-hand and second-hand data. So first-hand data, or sometimes it's called primary data, is data you collect by yourself by measuring, conducting an experiment, or conducting a survey. So if you collect the information yourself, it's called first-hand data. Next, we have, let's use the magic eraser here to reveal secondary or second-hand data or secondary data. So if you collect the data, or you find data that somebody else collected, like most likely on the internet, that is called secondary data or second-hand data. So you answer these questions by writing primary or secondary data. What would be the best way to collect all this information? So pause the video, come back when you're ready. Question A says, what is the most popular movie in your class? Well, you could conduct a survey, so that would be primary data. What was the most popular movie of all time? Well, it's not feasible or doesn't make sense to ask everybody in the world. So this is something you might look up online, so that would be secondary data. How much time do you spend doing homework each night? Again, you can conduct a survey of people in your class, and that would be primary data. How much time does the average grade 5 student spend doing homework each night? Well, if you wanted to find out the average of, say, all students in Alberta, for example, you might do some research online, and if you found your information there, that would be secondary data. How much time does the average student in your class spend each night? Well, that would be primary data. Have you ever taken a survey in person, online, or over the phone? How did it work? Well, I'll create another video for you to learn how to conduct a survey using Google Forms. So a lot of thought goes into both the questions and the answers. It's important to make sure the people in your survey can answer your question. That kind of goes without saying. So do you think most people would know the answers to this question? What color is your hair? Who was the Prime Minister in 1930? What is the best treatment for the flu? What is your favorite flavor of ice cream? So you don't want to send people who you're surveying, you don't want to make them do research. They should be able to answer your questions. So these two middle questions might be hard for people to answer, so they might not be the best questions to answer in a survey. Okay? And also you want to think about this. Will the question receive one answer or multiple answers from each person you ask? So what is your favorite ice cream flavor? Well, that's asking for one flavor, right? What flavors of ice cream do you like? Well, that would get you multiple answers. Whom will you vote for in the election? Well, people can only vote for one person. Which candidates do you like in the election? Well, they might like more than one. What is your favorite color? That's one. And what colors do you like? That would be multiple. So in a survey, you're probably looking for one answer. So these would be the good kinds of questions to ask in a survey, the ones that get you one answer instead of multiple answers. Predict the most popular answer for the following survey questions. That's because when you conduct your survey, you might give people some options. So for colors, you might give them a list of 5 colors that they can choose from. And then, of course, you would need to add an other category, because if one of their favorite colors is not there, you would add it. So for favorite colors, you might say red, blue, green, purple, maybe pink, maybe orange. And then, of course, you would have to have another in case somebody liked, say, yellow the best or brown the best. And what is your favorite animal? Well, think of popular animals: dogs, cats. I'm not sure what else people might like: bears, mice, snakes, whatever you think is going to be the most popular. So which of these two questions needs an other as a choice? What is your favorite season? Does that need other as a choice? What is your favorite food? So if you list all the possible answers, like there are no other seasons other than winter, spring, summer, and fall, that doesn't need another category. But there are more foods than just soup, spaghetti, tacos, and salad. So this one would need an other category. So far we have asked about what the class likes best. These questions can be answered by doing a survey. But lots of questions can't be answered this way. For instance, sometimes we have no way to talk to the people we want answers from, or the question isn't about individual people. These kinds of questions must be answered using secondary data. So remember, back to the beginning of the lesson, that's the kind of data you collect by using some source, like a book or the internet. So these are types of questions that would require secondary data. What is the average rainfall for this day of the year? So you could go on a website like theweathernetwork.com and look up the average rainfall for this day. What is the most rain ever recorded on this day where you live? So meteorologists keep those types of records. What are the 5 fastest animals? How fast do they go? So you're not going to take a bunch of animals and have them race each other. You're just simply going to look that up on the internet. All right, that's it for our lesson. You can now go ahead and work on pages 167 and 168 and ask your teacher if you need any extra help.